Mardi Gras, Proven Not Perfect community. This is Chantra Powell, your podcast host, your community leader. I am so excited to share a piece of my hometown with you today. If you don't know, then you better know. It's 2022. It is February 28th, and it is Mardi Gras, the Fat Monday before Fat Tuesday. If you're in New Orleans, you've got the King of Carnival coming up the riverfront. You've got the King Zulu coming up the riverfront. You may even have them partying together. All families are getting food ready. They're getting, let's say, libations ready. They're getting music ready. They're getting family ready to go out and have a wonderful celebration of culture and all things, y'all. So today we're going to talk to Julie Fredericks Vaucresson, a childhood friend of mine I've known since forever. And she now and her husband are reinstituting a family business of his and taking that down legacy as a family business for themselves. And we are going to hear all about culture. We're going to hear about family. We're going to hear about business. We're going to hear about entrepreneurship. We're going to hear about a woman holding it down, trying to do all the things. Here we go with Julie Fredericks Vaucresson. Enjoy. Hey, Julie.
Hey, hello.
Girl, I have to tell you, you are my very first homegirl New Orleans guest on Proven Not Perfect podcast. Yeah.
Hey. Shout out to me.
Yeah, girl. Shout out to you. And, this has been such an organic journey from the jump. And what popped off to me was, man, I need to talk to somebody about culture. I need to talk to somebody about the richness of culture. And who better than, the food people herself to come and have that conversation with me. You all, I'm talking to Julie Fredericks. I'm going to put that out there because that's when we were girls. That's who I knew, Vaucresson. Julie is not only a business owner in the area, supporting and probably being the hold it down helpmate that we are with her husband and his vision for their family. And we're going to talk about that. It happens to be Mardi Gras season. We just got through King's Day. The king cake is flowing in the city. I even hear trucks are starting to flow in the city, as we didn't have a Mardi Gras last year, but I hear we have one this year, right? So with all that background, we're going to start the conversation. Julie, hello.
Hello, it's so good to see you. I see you on social media, but to actually talk to you is really wonderful.
It really is. It's been too long. But you know what? The beauty of social media is even when we are apart physically for so long, I feel like I stay in touch with everybody. I see what's going on. Now, I have to say there's a love-hate relationship with the whole social media thing too.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
I feel like it can pull us in and it's just like too much constant, right?
Too much. And if you don't really take it for what it is, it could bring you to a bad place,
Yeah, that's right on. But you know what? Les bon ton roulé. We're not going nowhere bad, right?
Right.
Nowhere bad. So tell us about your first memory of Mardi Gras and what it is. We actually gonna even back it up because I know I have people that are listening from literally around the world. And some people have heard New Orleans and Mardi Gras and they seriously have no context other than a mask and a bead that they might see. Tell us a little bit about what Mardi Gras means to you. Let's jump there.
So Mardi Gras is like the last hurrah before Lent. New Orleans is a predominantly Catholic city. And so it's the Bacchanal. It's the big celebration before you start abstaining from all the debauchery. And I mean, it is basically. Yep. And for me, you'll remember this. My best memories of Mardi Gras are when the parades were actually in the neighborhood.
Yes.
There were parades in New Orleans East. We had 2 parades that passed in front of our house. So it was a big celebration, open house. And it was just family. It was fun, food, and festive, all the F's. And my family really, really enjoyed it. It was open house all day long. Do you remember that Hercules and Pandora passed in front of my
Yes.
house?
Oh my God. Yes.
And
I do.
I think every celebration in New Orleans always relates back to food.
Mm.
And so, of course, when we'd have our open house, we'd have red beans, we'd have hot dogs. My mom would make these popcorn balls. We'd have candy apples that she would make. It was a labor of love because she'd work all day. And now I get it. As a mom that works with kids, I get it.
Yes, it's true. It was a labor of love. And I think that for folks who do not really understand the culture in New Orleans and they think of it as just a place to go to party and the debauchery, right? What they
Right.
don't sometimes understand is how rooted in, just like you said, faith and religion it is, and family, right? It is so much
Right.
about that. And the memories that our mothers, in particular, my mother, I think of her,
Mhm.
you know what I mean? In particular, I know the daddies did their part, but in particular, I think of my mother, what the effort that she put forth to make sure that we had a good time.
Right.
That's
Think about it.
Yeah.
We'd get up early in the morning because we had to see Zulu.
Yeah.
My mom would pack all this food, drinks. Everybody, that's when you used to dress up too. When we were little, people would mask. It was a lot involved. And I guess I never really understood it until now, the work that goes into making all of that happen.
Yeah. Yeah. So 2020 happened, Julie, and 2021 then became the first time in my history of remembrance that things didn't roll, floats didn't roll. What was that like being in New Orleans during Mardi Gras? Because, career took me away a while ago, and it's always been a gift and a blessing if I could even get back, right? But if you're there, what was it like when it just stopped, right?
It was really surreal. It's so much a part of who we are in the culture of New Orleans that I think it took everybody a step back and people weren't willing to give it up. That's how you got the house floats, the cruise of house floats.
I saw that on the internet. That was so cool.
Which, my kids are not little, just like yours, but we still got in the car and drove around to look at all the house floats. There were maps, and people are still doing it now, the house floats, even though we're going to have a Mardi Gras this year. I'm not sure how we're going to do it, but we're going to do it this year.
So, Julie, let me tell you this, though. The house floats, I thought, was another sign of how entrepreneurial I feel like the people in the culture of New Orleans are. That right there, I mean, I could just stop and drop a mic right there because when people, have asked me, well, how did you find the courage to do blah, 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 right? And sometimes you can't even answer those kind of questions easily because it literally is innate in you.
Right.
It's in that culture where, okay, no Mardi Gras, we're going to create something else. There's a new business model.
Absolutely. And I think that with the whole pandemic, it forced a lot of people to think differently. So let me just tell you a little bit. My husband has a sausage company. He's a third generation sausage maker.
Vaucresson sausage.
Vaucresson sausage company.
Girl, I need some crawfish sausage. So that's gonna be the order I place when we get off this call.
It's amazing. All of it, everything is amazing. So his grandfather started. He's a third generation. So it's very.
Is it 1899? I want to get
1899, 123-year-old Black business in the city of New Orleans.
Girl, Julie, say that again because people need to know this is not a new thing.
Not a new thing. 123-year-old business. And you talk about culture. My husband is one that is very big on culture. So it's been a cultural journey for me as well to preserve a lot of these traditions and customs that we have. And the pandemic, so we wholesale and supply sausage to restaurants. Yeah. Right before the pandemic happened, I quit my job to work with the family business, took a leap of faith, and then everything shut down. So here we are supplying to restaurants that aren't open. So we have no business. So it's like, oh my God, did I do the right thing? But then it's funny because my husband and I are now both running the business. We're like the Avon, he's Avon Barksdale and I'm Stringer Bell. I'm the big picture person. He's the one that's the man on the streets, the boots on the street. So I said, you know what? We're going to just start doing some direct to consumer sales. We're going to come up with some new products. We have to rethink the model. And do things differently so that we can survive in this new age. So we started doing social media marketing. We started doing, like I said, some new products, some different take on things. We started doing a jerk chicken sausage, which has been very, very successful. We realized part of the history and the culture relies in him and his family. So that's what we need to market. We had to start looking at what to market. And we're finally going back to our pre-Katrina location, which is huge. Because we lost all of that in the storm. We were in every grocery store before the storm. And then storm came, wiped all that out. So we're going back there. We're going to do a cafe and deli. So we're doing it a little different this time.
Where's it going to be? Where's it going to be?
In the original location, 1800 St. Bernard Avenue, across from the Autocrat.
That's right on. Yes.
So we're going back. We're going to sell this fresh sausage. We're going to have a cafe where you can come and get the po' boys like we do at Jazz Fest. And we're also going to have it. You know, when you go to the fudgery and you can see them making the fudge.
Yes.
You're going to be able to come in and see them making the sausage.
Now that is amazing because sausage is sort of one of those things where your taste buds are saying yes. And you're like, what's all going on in there? I love that you're going to be transparent and show that.
You're going to be able to see it. My husband sings, so you'll see the singing sausage man, just like the fudge, you know, and I think it's going to be great. We wanted to do this concept for a while, and we're also going to have sausage making classes you can come in and take. And so we're doing it a little bit differently. And I think
Julie, this is so awesome.
Yeah, I think that's what it takes, though, to you got to take a step out on faith and change it up to keep it relevant, to keep it fresh. And that way we're going to preserve the culture. And it was a big thing. If you ever talk to anybody, they say that they had to go to Vaucresson to get their sausage before Thanksgiving to make their gumbo. Or, you know, they'd go and Vance's daddy, Mr. Sonny, would give them a little lanyard. He'd give them something extra. So it's all these stories that we're going to try to keep out there and share, because people share them with us at the festival, at Jazz Fest. You know, we're the only original vendor at Jazz Fest.
That is so special. Seriously.
Yeah. So we're excited that that's going to take place, because we didn't have that last year as well.
I know. Now I know. Now Jazz Fest for 2021 originally just got postponed to October timeframe.
And then Delta.
Then it went away altogether. So that was because I trailed that one, because I really had a hunger to just be a part of a cultural experience after all of the things going on in 20 and 21, you know?
Right.
So so Jazz Fest is supposed to happen.
Jazz Fest is supposed to happen. French Quarter Fest is supposed to happen.
Wow.
So we'll see.
Wow.
I'm hoping that it does. I think it's very necessary.
When will the doors open to the new facility at 1800 St. Bernard?
Well, we were supposed to open early this year, but Hurricane Ida kind of pushed everything back.
These doggone hurricanes, I'm serious. Too much.
Yeah, it's too much. But we persevere.
Yes.
You know, we thought Katrina was going to do us in, but we're back. And so we're not going to let Ida and the delays with, you know, permitting, and because everything is behind right now because of it.
Yeah.
So
you can't find somebody to do work, right? You just you can't. We're still trying to figure that out, just even for my parents' house. And you can't. Well, I should say it. You can find people. You can't find people that are willing to be available and honest.
Right. And the ones that are booked.
So and the ones that are booked. That's right. Mm-hmm.
And then the supply chain issues, it's all of that going into it, you know?
Yeah. So do you think there's any possibility that the Vaucresson Sausage Company will be, as a facility, as a place to be, will be open around Jazz Fest time? So if folks Okay, good, 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 good.
Yes.
You think by then. So for everybody that's listening, I don't care where you are in the world. I know for most people, if you've not been to New Orleans, it's on your list. It's a place you want to go. I would say, as we kind of talk about our favorite times, part of me says my favorite time is Mardi Gras because I really enjoy the dressing up and the visiting with people in a festive setting. We're all looking special and fancy and we're enjoying food and camaraderie. But completely 180, part of me loves Jazz Fest the most because you take all the clothes off.
Right.
And you still got the good food, you still got the good camaraderie, and you got great music. So, girl, I don't know. If I truly had to pick, I don't know which one I would pick.
I don't know either. Jazz Fest, though, the festival season is work for me, but it's still good, and this is the thing too, with the three generation business, we didn't know. My husband was always saying, I don't know if it's going to end with me. But I think what we're doing, and now that my kids are old enough to appreciate the Jazz Fest and what we do, and they're now interested, they have a whole new life in wanting to take this business on. My husband's his grandfather started as a butcher. His daddy started wholesaling and distributing. And then now we're doing something different. We're doing internet sales. We're, like I said, going back with the cafe and deli, and doing some other different things that will keep it fresh. And now the kids are interested. So that's really a blessing. We're really excited about that.
What does competition look like in the food space?
Well, this is New Orleans, so it's always going to be a lot of competition. We have a unique experience for us because for the cafe part, we're in partnership with Dookie Chase. Dookie Chase has been buying sausage from us, putting it in their gumbo for over 70 years.
Yes.
So that really helps, for us.
And for those people listening that are building your list of things you got to do and places you have to go, Dookie Chase is another one, right?
Dookie Chase is absolutely another one. And Dookie the Fourth is now running it. He's doing an excellent job. He has a restaurant in the airport. So if you fly in, you can stop at Leah's Place, named after his grandmother.
Yes.
And he's opening another restaurant. I'm not sure where that location is, plus the partnership with us. So he's doing it.
So we know not only is the food mixed up good in the final presentation, we know that what's going in is delicious and good because it's coming straight from Vaucresson. So that's all right. That's a partnership right there.
There you go.
So when you think about family business, right? I want to shift to the business side.
Okay.
And you think about legacy and continuation, and how you start to build not only a place for the next generation to lead from, but also allowing them the space to start including their voice, including their vision. How do you think about that? Is it ever too soon to start? Does that help the next generation start to engage? Have you already incorporated that now? I'd love to hear how you guys are seeding a family business for the next generation, starting with your family.
So, excuse me, we have already started that.
Wow.
I don't know if you've seen, we've done some videos that we've posted on social media.
Yeah, I've seen them.
You've seen them? Okay, so my son is the audio person. He does all the tracks. He decided he wanted to be a rapper a few years ago. So he's a SoundCloud rapper.
Okay.
And we bought him all this equipment. And then one day I came up with this idea to do a video, like my daughter was always TikToking and doing whatever. So we now have him. He does the audio, and my daughter is the visual person. She edits all the videos. She puts the whatever over it. I don't know all the terminology. In addition to that, she's our social media manager.
Okay.
Which we've got them engaged in ways that relate to them.
Yes.
And I think that's the important thing. Like I said, we had to rethink business. I decided that we have, when we do the festivals, and we sell po' boys. And when we recommend what to put on the po' boy, we say, oh, all you need is Creole mustard. So I've been working on developing our own Creole mustard and a whole mustard line, because what goes with sausage? Mustard.
Yep.
So I said, why can't we do mustards that go with our sausage, perfect pairings? So we're working to get that developed. My son and all his friends are going to be the ones that are actually going to work bottling it and label all that stuff. So he's super excited about that. He's excited to offer this opportunity to his friends. And I think it's important for them to see us doing like big idea things, not just with the same thing that we've been doing for 123 years. We got to do big idea and forecasting and planning for, the next generation.
Yes. How big do you see the expansion beyond even Louisiana as a footprint? Do you see the stores outside of Louisiana? Because I'm thinking Popeye story, okay? Because right. I think to many of us, we do lock into the local opportunity and the culture, but the thing is, our culture grabs people. And right. So do you think at some point we could see this going global?
Global, I know right now we're focusing on national distribution.
All right.
Global, I would love that. I don't know how it translates with a fresh product like we have to, I think there's a lot involved with that. And maybe it'll be my kids that take it to that level. But we are definitely working on national distribution.
Wow. Oh my God, that is so awesome. So what is going on in New Orleans right now as you have an opinion on the environment? How are people feeling? Is it a place of hope right now? Is it a place of despair right now? There's so much going on in so many cities across the world. And I think for a lot of people, listening to podcasts and hearing stories like this is their own sort of virtual way of being in places where they desire to be and understanding how it compares to where they are. What's going on there? What's the pulse? How would you describe the feeling there?
I think New Orleans is not any different than any other major city. I mean, we've got crime that's out of control, crime that is escalating. I think that there are a lot of people that are in situations that are they're in despair.
Yeah.
And I think that there's a crisis with our youth. Yeah. And I think that's everywhere. So I don't know if it's any different here than any place else. I think there are problems with our schools, which trickles, it's the trickle down theory, so then you get crime from young people. And so I don't know if it's different anywhere else, but I do think that we're not giving up hope. That's why there is going to be a Mardi Gras. That's why there are going to be the festivals, and people want it. They're not afraid. They're going to go. They're going to participate. We're going to have our ball season, and I think that's what we have to keep doing. We got to stay optimistic.
Yes. I think that's a word, staying optimistic, right? Because when you think of the New Orleans story, like we said, it's one that in some ways you can look from afar and see it's always a risky place to live, right? When you have a topography that's below sea level, and you are right there in the eye of most storms that are rolling up the Gulf. It's a little bit of a risk to live there, right?
Absolutely.
And how many times do you build and rebuild and build and rebuild? But I'm going to say there's a fearless few that are unmovable. And I think that is the culture of strength that so many of us admire and, want to emulate. Even when we leave, we can turn back to that, right? Yeah,
absolutely. And I think that even for us, we've had a lot of hits. We had a house fire and we were 4 months to moving in our brand new house when Katrina hit. And then we had to start rebuilding again. Then the business got taken out and we were still doing the festivals and somebody stole our big grill. So right before the festival season, we're like, okay, how many more hits that can we take? So we've had a series of things that have happened, but through it all, we just stayed strong and true and kept our eyes on the prize. And I think that's what it is. You got to stay focused.
Yes.
So that you're driven to getting to the end game. And that's what we're trying to do. And show that to our kids, because that's what they need to see.
Yes. Legacy, focus.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
All great things. Oh gosh. All right. King cake. How much king cake have you had?
So,
and what's your favorite one? I'm sorry. I'm going to put you on Front Street right now.
Okay. So I like the iced king cake, of course.
Yes.
I like a Randazzo king cake, and I like Adrian's Bakery. Adrian's has some of the best king cakes.
Now, I don't know about Adrian's. This is a new one.
Girl, yes.
Okay.
On Elysian Fields. Remember where Lawrence's Bakery was?
Yes.
So over there, and they have a location on Paris and Mirabeau.
Okay.
Fabulous king cake. If you like the traditional king cake.
And I do. Yes.
I like the traditional. I like a cream cheese and all that, but I really like the plain king cake with a cup of coffee. Just give me
plain, girl. My sister and I battle out that one too, because she keeps sending me all these ones. This one, and everybody's buying this one, and it has the cream cheese and the this, and then I'm like, if I wanted a cream cheese Danish, I would get a cream cheese Danish.
Right. Or cake. Apple or blueberry, strawberry. I mean, I get it, and it's nice, but my preference is just a plain king cake with a cup of coffee. Doesn't get better,
Oh, yes. Girl, we can share the king cake for sure. And then for folks that are wondering, king cake, what are they talking about? Man, you want to share with us what king cake is as quite frankly an experience.
It is. It's kind of like a glorified cinnamon roll, and there's a baby in it. So everybody has a piece, and whoever gets the baby has to buy the next one. Unfortunately, we're not gathering as much anymore, so I'm stuck buying them all for the house. But and my kids
catching up.
My kids growing up would just sit there and eat constantly until they got the baby. It was like, okay, come on, y'all.
Yes.
Let's give it a break. But I love king cake. And now you can go to coffee shops and get like a slice. So I don't have to buy the whole thing. Yeah, you can get a slice with your coffee or something. That's nice.
All right. So when you put your New Orleans trip on the list, go to a coffee shop and, the uptown area and, ask them for a slice of king cake. And then you get to taste the culture and some wonderful coffee to complement. There's nothing that goes better together than that.
Nothing. Cafe au lait and king cake. Come on.
Mm-hmm. Julie, you look great. And I am sure that you're setting up for just a fun and wonderful holiday season. We are sending so much love and great wishes for Vaucresson Sausage Company and all the great things to come. I can't wait to be there in the mix and hear the singing sausage man. And I sure hope that you also bring in some second line every now and then, just even around the block, just so, we can get a little juke in there too.
So Vance, his family, he's cousins with John Boutte and Lillian Boutte. And so they're a musical family. Oh. And every year at Jazz Fest, he'll perform with them at the gospel tent. Wow. So music is a very big part.
So anybody could pop in there at any time.
At any time.
So it could truly be the turn up that folks just don't even realize is about to
pop off at any time.
Well, see, that's what I'm talking about.
There you go.
That's what I'm talking about. Look, we're going to get there. We are going to get there. Blessings to you. Have a wonderful Mardi Gras season. Thank you for visiting with us. Would you please come back when you've opened and you can share with us, maybe even on location? I think it would be fun to go down to Jazz Fest and have you talk on location. All right.
That would be great. I would love to. Thank you so much for having me.
Oh my gosh. My pleasure. And I am so grateful. Thank you.
Thanks.
That's Vaucresson Sausage Company, y'all. If you don't know, you better know.